ready for maybe one of the most frightening story times and also maybe one of the most lamest story times of all time. I've never done a story time on this channel predominantly because every video I do is pretty much a story time because it's like a tea vlog or I'm just talking about my random life. That's just kind of what I do here every day, but I don't know, story time is like the thing that we call it these days on the YouTubery, so that's what we're gonna call it today. Also, my eyeliner is on semi-fleek. Fun fact, it is indeed a Friday night. I sat down, I did my hair, I did my makeup, and I put on a super cute outfit. Dogman and I were gonna go out. We were gonna hang out with some friends tonight. We were actually gonna leave the suburbs for once and venture out into the great big scary city. And then last minute, I totally chickened out and just decided that leaving the house seemed way too intimidating for me. So now I'm just dressed in this super cute dress with my hair and makeup done just to hang out with you guys, which is cool. Also, I wanted to like look more bronzy today, but all I did was kind of like make my face and my neck not match the rest of my body. But hey, that's how I do my makeup all the time. So what's the difference, bunny? Nothing. So anyway, let's just get on to the story time now. I'm ready. I'm ready. Today, Dogman and I actually did do stuff. We went out on a little date. We went to this really awesome place in Galveston called Moody Gardens. We like to go there all the time because it's kind of like a cool animal kind of thing. There's like a big like aquarium. I really don't know how to describe it. Just Google Moody Gardens if you're curious, but we go there all the time. There's like an IMAX. There's like lots of fun stuff to do there. We also decided like before we were gonna go to Moody Gardens and see all the animals and the mammalia that we were going to go to one of our all-time favorite restaurants. And I kind of don't want to say the name of the restaurant just because like I'm not really trying to make this like a rant video. I don't want people to like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? That's the scariest thing about this is like me being the paranoid person that I am. I'm just like, oh my God, this could happen anywhere, at any time, to any food I ever eat. So like if you're easily paranoid and panicky about things such as I am, you might not want to watch this video. We went to one of our favorite restaurants today and we have literally eaten there so many times. I can't even tell you. Like every time somebody's like, oh, where do you want to go for like a fancy kind of thing? Or basically just every time Dogman and I want to go to a fancy restaurant, this is like as fancy as I get. It's like the place I always want to go, and it's in Galveston. We go there today and I was like starving because my last video that I filmed for you guys, like it's just been a whole debacle. Like audio didn't work. It's just been like a thing. Like I don't know what's going on. I'm hoping that the camera is recording audio right meow. Anyway, I was trying to work on the last video that I filmed for you guys. Like I've been working on it for days now. So we didn't even really like head to the island until like 2:30 and I hadn't eaten anything. So I was like just salivating at the thought of food. So we get there, we sit down, we order these lemonades like we always get. The lemonade is so delicious. It's like strawberry lemonade. It's like so flaky. Got lemonades, got an entree. I had like fried onion pieces, which is an onion ring, and I ate all of that and it was so delicious. So the thing that we always get to eat is like this entree that Dogman and I split because it's like huge. I think it is supposed to be like a two-person sharing kind of meal. So it's like a big bucket of food and it's got like shrimps, crabs, French fries, and like little fried breaded piece of fish. And did I already say crab? Because it has like crab legs on the top. I'm a big giant baby and I like can't peel food with my own precious little baby fingers. So Dogman always takes the crab legs off the top and he'll take the crackers and he will, like, you know, if you've ever eaten a crab, it's like a process. Y'all know. So anyway, you know, he always kind of like removes the crab from the shell. We don't need to get into this. And then like I will just eat the French fries and stuff in the bucket. I've done it 100,000 times. So today I'm just like munchy-wunching on little French fries, and suddenly, for some reason, I pick up this one French fry out of the bucket and it's got seasonings all over it. It's kind of like a Cajun seasoning that surprisingly I like because I'm a big baby and I don't like anything that's spicy, but this is just like, it's like nice and salty and like just a little bit spicy. So it's like covered in spices. So I pick up this one French fry and I look at it, and on the end of the French fry, and that's why this is kind of like a lame story time, because honestly, I should have taken a picture, totally. So I pick up this one French fry and there's seasoning on it. And then on the very end of the French fry, it looks like a perfect little arrow shape. And you know how like some people are like, oh, I see the Virgin Mary in a piece of toast, or like I saw Ronald McDonald's face in a potato chip, and like all kinds of weird stuff like that. And like sometimes you look at like clouds or foods and you're like, oh, that looks like a butterfly. You know, so I'm looking at this French fry and like next to all the seasonings, there is a perfectly formed little teeny tiny arrow. And I literally showed it to Dogman and I was like, look at this piece of seasoning. Doesn't it look like a perfect arrow? And like literally in my mind, I'm just thinking it's a funny shaped piece of seasoning shaped like an arrow. I almost ate it. I almost just was like, oh, I'm gonna eat a funny looking arrow. It's so cute. My food is shaped like stuff. It's a wonderful day. I almost put this in my mouth, okay? No joke. So I got a little intelligent and stopped for a minute, and I decided to fleck the little arrow off of my food. And I thought, honestly, still thinking it was seasoning, that the moment that I flecked the little arrow off my food, I thought it was gonna like crumble or like roll up, like if, you know, if it's like a piece of like oregano or something, like you touch it and it's like malleable, you know, it's not like a sharp object. So I knocked this off and it didn't move at all, still was a perfect arrow. It landed on the top of my fingernail, like a super cute little nail decal. And then it became like honestly disturbing to me because I was like, this is not seasoning. This is not spices. And so like I'm touching it and it feels not only hard, but also really, really sharp at the pointy end of the tiny little arrow. Like stabby ow pain sharp. And I passed it to Dogman and I was like, what is this sharp thing that is in my food? And I thought he would kind of like break it down because honestly, like, you know, like what is crabs made out of? What are crabs? You know, sometimes like a piece of a shell or something can turn up in seafood, or like there's also shrimp. So I was just thinking like, still trying to think that this was a piece of food somehow. And he like was pushing it around in his hand and like he's literally like, I am like here, like way up to the moon. Also I forgot to shave my armpits. Fun story. I'm like over the moon, like overly ridiculously cautious to the point of like fox molder paranoia. Okay, that's what's going on here. But like Dogman is like he skydives and just does like all kinds of stuff that I could never do in 1,000 years. And even he was like at that moment, like he's just not an overly cautious person is kind of like what I'm getting at here. But even in that moment, he was like squeezing it with his fingers and he's like, this is disturbing. Like, what is this? It is really sharp. It is not like, and he was like pushing on it really hard with his man hands. And this arrow thing was just kind of like stabbing into his finger. I mean, not drawing blood, but like, you know, it was like poking him. It hurt. It was not like bending or crunching or like revealing itself to be food in any way. So I'm just like, oh, like then it's like a moment of sheer terror because like there I was just shoving French fries into my mouth at like a vacuumous kind of rate, like not looking at what I'm eating. And then I'm just kind of like, oh my God, if there's one, is there more? What is this? And I'm gonna be perfectly honest, what it looked like to me, oddly enough, was like if the second hand of somebody's watch broke off, like the tiniest little part of the tiniest little watch, and it was like the tiniest little metal arrow. That is exactly what it looked like. And I just and I feel like I have this thing about food too, and like just as of late, and I don't know if like everybody's just careless these days, like nobody cares what's in our foods and drinks anymore, but like suddenly it's like an alarming rate of like glass in drinks and like glass and pasta sauce and all kinds of like, and honestly that really messes with my mind all the time. And I have become more conscious of like what I am eating to be like, is this sharp? Like it just freaks me out, but I feel like I haven't heard anything in the news about that for a while, so I feel like it was like in the back of my mind. But suddenly I was just like, oh my God, like paranoid that I had just been eating all these fries, like covered in all this seasoning. And I'm just like, did I swallow something like super sharp? I'm honestly still freaked out about it, like 10 plus hours later, still freaking out about it. So we did call over a waiter. He was like, cause this is kind of like a restaurant where you don't necessarily have like one set waiter. It's kind of like everybody just works an area. And then, so like you get somebody to come over to your area, you know what I mean? So this waiter came over and Dogman was like, we found a sharp arrow particle in this food. Like, what the jack, mate? What is this? And he was like, oh, and like kind of looking at it and like pushing it and being like, this is not food. And then he was like, okay, let me see the platter. And then he just like disappeared for a prolonged period of time. And honestly, I should have taken a picture, but I didn't. So he like collects all the stuff and he's gone for a while. And then he just like whisks, comes back by like 7 minutes later. And he's like, okay, we told the kitchen, they're gonna make you a new bucket of food. And I was like, like still kind of cringy because I'm like, oh my God, if it happened once, it can happen again. What's going on back in the kitchen? Why is there small tiny arrows in my food? Just like not 100% very comfortable with continuing to eat food out of this restaurant whatsoever. And Dogman's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to leave? Do you want to stay? Do you want to leave? Do you want to stay? And I'm just like so indecisive all the time that I just want to peel my own face off. I was just like, I feel like we have to stay now because they were like, oh, preparing a new one. And then I felt like it would just be rude to just bail, you know what I'm saying? So they bring us out like some new food and it's this other waitress who was a total sweetheart and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened. And I'm like, I know, it's not your fault, like you're not cooking the food. And so she's like, well, I'm gonna have did a manager come by and talk to you? And like surprisingly, no. And so she's like, oh, I'm gonna go get a manager, so then I'm just like like waiting for a manager to come back by to explain to them that they have sharp arrows in their food. And like finally a manager came over, and I guess it's because like 9 times out of 10 I am dressed like a hobo, like especially if I'm going to the beach. Like the shirt I was wearing today had holes all in it, and I just had my hair pulled up in a clip, like no makeup on my face. So like honestly, I don't know. I just like to be comfortable. What can I say? And so the manager, and I was trying to explain to him the situation, and he literally cut me off mid-story, utterly brushed off everything I was saying. And he's like, okay, I'm so sorry. We're just gonna take it off. Your meal is free. And I was like, okay. I don't care about that. I don't care about not paying for the food. That's not the problem here. The problem is what is going on back in your kitchen that sharp objects are showing up in the food and in the seasonings, right? That is pretty much the end of my story. I didn't really eat too much of the rest of the food, even though it was fresh. All pretty much I would eat is the crab, because I know if it's coming out of a shell, it's probably okay. There's probably not gonna be knives in that. Just anything that had any seasoning on it just kind of freaked me out. And now I'm just freaked out about food all over again. Cause I'm just if you're not making it, if you're not growing it, you don't know what's going on. If you're not cooking it, and I don't know how to cook to save my life. I don't know what's going on. And I feel like now I'm literally, it's just one more thing to add to the list. Bam, one more thing. You know, that now every time I get food, I'm gonna have to like peel it open, take it apart, look at it, like knock all the salt granules off of it, make sure there's nothing sharp. But you know, I feel like I could have totally like eaten that and just mashed it up in my food, and like, oh, I'm just like, I don't even want to tell you guys the imagery that is in my head about sharp things in the mouth area. Horrifying. Horrifying. I had posted like one little picture caption today on Snapchat, and I was getting so many snaps from you guys asking me like, did I talk to a manager? What on earth happened to me today? What madness occurred today in the world of Bunny? And so I thought I would come on here and talk to you guys, and maybe y'all can help me deal with my irrational fears that are still semi-rational. Probably if I would have eaten it, I would not have died. I would have been okay, but still, like, I'm just like, ugh. And nobody's perfect, but I'm just like, what level of caution is going on here? Like, ugh. I just want everybody to cook food in like hazmat suits. That'd be perf, and then I feel like we'd be okay. So that is my lame story, but I thought I would come and share it with you guys anyway. I bet people are gonna be curious about what lipstick shade I'm wearing today. So it is it's one of the new shades from ColourPop, and it's called Bianca. I'm gonna go wash all my makeup off now and put on some pajamas and try and just go to sleep. We still had like a really fun time, but I have been low-key horrified like all day now. I feel like I just need to be unconscious for a while and just like reset tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and for watching. If you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below, subscribe, become a member of the Swamp Family, and give an alligator its wangs. Also, if you want, you can like me on Facebook, facebook.com/graveyardgirl, or you can follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, or Instagram @graveyardgirls, same way it's spelled here. I love you guys so much, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye!